Hey folks! Welcome back to Let's Play Suzuki Bakuhatsu. I'm your host, CPC Gamer, and through the time manipulation magic of loading my second save file, we're not quite done with the game yet. We've got 2 more stages to do before the big finale, and we're going to start off with one of my favourite stages in the entire game. Now, you probably didn't see that, because YouTube doesn't really like, share and subscribe subliminal messages in its videos. But that kinda said beach. Probably. I mean, it's small and pixelated and... oh yeah, kanji, but I think it said beach. I mean, the second one said water, so... beach makes sense, right? Also, look at this girl's hair. She's wearing it in, like, Chun-Li buns now. Now that's versatile, I tell you what. And this is something I was talking about in an earlier episode. What exactly is going on in the game world at this point? Like, has Suzuki been transported to the beach along with her car? Or is she sitting in a parking lot hallucinating vividly? Doesn't really matter, because there's something more pressing at hand. Namely, those loonies are gonna blow up the ocean! No, seriously. Also, is anyone else reminded of that one bit from Final Fantasy VII? I think it was Juno. The aircraft base that Diamond Weapon attacks. I don't know, these corridors remind me of that for some reason. Wait, we can't go forward because submarines? That's not even a sentence, Andy. Well, I'm gonna equip my sonar and... well, reveal a submarine blocking our way. Well, luckily, I brought a battery of torpedoes for just such an occasion. Man, this game is great. You know, I'm a little bit let down that it begins with a maze, but it's okay, because the maze is a blue-on-black wireframe. And I love wireframes. Oh, hang on a second. See, this is one of the points where you're going to have trouble on some of the harder difficulties. Because these submarines are put here specifically to waste your time rifling through your toolbox and slowly breaking apart when you're done. Although for the PS1, that is a very impressive collection of shattering polygons. I mean, in the past, I've praised some of the game design choices, and I'm going to do it again now. Shattering polygons are great. Also, you can see areas of the maze through the clear walls of the corridor that we're in. And some of these areas are inaccessible. They are just there to make the maze and the game look bigger than it is. And that's a really good and confusing and disorienting thing to do. I mean, it's also out of a good role-playing guide. Don't kill the players, hand the players the means to kill themselves. Oh, and you see that sub in the background? That's where we're heading. Yes, the first stage of this thing is actually finding the bomb in the first place. Now, we can begin disarming it. And you've got to be very careful not to arm and fire a torpedo at this point, because, I mean, that would be really dumb and stupid. I mean, yes, they designed the level so the torpedo is going to be the highlighted item in your toolbox at this point, but, I mean, we know better than to mash the use button, don't we? I do, because I got it very wrong in my trial run. Also, you may need to wind it back a little bit, but I love how the screws fly out of the submarine's hull like torpedoes, rather than falling to the ground like the other stages. Once again, lots of little touches add up to something big. Don't think about that sentence too much, because I didn't. Wow, that took a long time. It's almost like they want to keep a submarine securely bolted together or something. And fair enough, because submarines are basically underwater spaceships, and you want to keep that tech nice and secure. And on that topic, one of the things that I wanted more than anything else in the world when I was a child was a waterproof Game Boy. I mean, looking back, I'm pretty sure it was just a regular Game Boy in a plastic bag, but I still wanted one. I thought that was the best thing. I mean, why, I don't know, because when you're in the shower, you're, like, showering, but I wanted one. It was a gadget. Now, you'll notice that panel that was on the right? We're not dealing with that just yet. We're doing these screws on the back. Or bolts. Or... what's the practical difference between a bolt and a screw? Like, I can't believe that I'm 6 videos in, and my dad is a resistant materials technician, and I don't know these things. Oh, and I forgot there were 2 extra screws, so now I have to fill for time before I can explain the firing mechanism. How embarrassing. Right, take 2. In this panel, we need to undo the top screw, and this one down here. However, if we undo this one, it will drop the hammer, which will knock the other hammer and detonate the bomb. So, we begin by undoing this screw, because this one isn't attached to anything important. Next, we turn this one, which will raise the firing rod. If we hadn't undone the top screw, it would have just blocked it, we wouldn't be allowed to continue. And with that done, we can undo part 3 and move along to the final stage of the device. Oh, and I should probably explain before we get to the end. I really like how this stage has a soft gurgling noise in the background. Like, underwater white noise is one of the most peaceful sounds to me. And it's a little weird, because unfathomably deep water is this thing that literally terrifies me, but I like it. Now, we undo this screw first of all. Then we unscrew this one 4 times. Then we turn this on, which makes that brush on the top of the bomb start to retract. If it comes all the way out, the game's over, which is why we pre-unscrewed the one on the right. Now for this one, I think the light on the front of the detonator is an indicator of what wire to cut. I don't know what it is. If that is the case, I just cut the red one every time and it's never done me wrong yet. Also, look at that disassembly screen! I like that. I mean, I mentioned it in an earlier video, but never really followed through. I once disassembled a PS2 controller into its component parts and laid them out, every piece, in the order that I pulled them out of the controller. And I'm sad that I lost the pictures, because that was really satisfying to look at. And there are schools that still using it as a teaching aid in their electronic classes. And that makes me pretty happy. Like, my idle curiosity led to something worthwhile and educational. Wait a second, is that one of the secretaries from the Gundam level? Probably not, because I don't think they recycle a single extra in the entire game, but man, if she doesn't look similar. But what do I know? I played that level like 2 days ago, I don't know what I'm doing. Actually, that's a lie, I totally know what I'm doing. Look at my bomb defusal tactics. I also know what's coming up in this stage, so let's go. This is a good one. I mean, they're all good ones. Except for that pinball table one, and suddenly I feel like buying an Apple product for some reason. Does anyone else get the impression that this was a screen test for the game and they just left it in because it's like, whatever, we've got the footage? I don't know. But that jump cut when she's facing forward is really jarring. Oh, and surprise, Suzuki's shadow is also a bomb. Which makes sense. You know, fight Enoch monsters and all that. Now we begin by picking left or right. Oh, and look at that! I love when games do that! Oh, and for the record, if we pick left, we get to see the same thing except mirrored. I'm gonna do this side because it just feels more natural, I guess? I don't know. This one's a puzzle stage, but a pretty simple one. I mean, it certainly doesn't belong towards the end of the game, that's for sure. We just need to raise this executive ball clicker so that it swings to the right. And then we drop it back down again so that it doesn't set off the left one. Thank you for getting in the way, Countdown. That is exactly what I needed. So, these hammers are falling down, which have revealed a couple of extra screws. However, because we moved that shield thing, it stops the hammers before they can trigger the detonator. And now we can drop the other side and raise the rest of the screws, and while it's doing that, start on disassembling the rest of the bomb. I mean, you can see what I mean about how this is a neat little puzzle, but it's not something you would expect to see this late in the game. This is something you want to see around stage 2 or 3. Like, not the very last thing you do before the end game sequence. I mean, whoa! Thanks, Polygon. So for this one, we need to clip the right wire. The game showed us this one because the device was rigged to clip the one on the left if we got it wrong, thus testing your powers of observation. I mean, I usually hate things like that, but I enjoy this game, so I can live with it this once. I mean, basically, it's the entire nature of this game to pay attention to the devices and see what you have to do next. Oh, and I hope you weren't expecting a victory video, because haha, no. Still, that means there's no more faffing around, and we can begin the final stage. How exciting. Boy, I hope this video is recording. Because the end game sequence begins automatically after a certain point, so I don't really have a chance to save or check to see if this thing is even recording. Maybe I'm just shouting in an empty room again. Maybe none of this is real and it's all in your head. Yes, you, the person I'm directly speaking to. Oh, hey, check it out, we're playing Perfect Dark. Oh, we actually are playing Perfect Dark. Nice! Although I was always more of a GoldenEye lad. I mean, thankfully, this stage gives us the best of both worlds, because we're on the Frigate stage, which had the absolute best music in the game. And that's because it's based on License to Kill, which is the second best Bond theme. The best one being Skyfall. And is it me, or did this game get incredibly dark all of a sudden? No matter, this is nothing we can't deal with. Then we'll move on and defuse our next stage, a plate of your mum's spaghetti. Now this is a really tricky stage, but it's also really clever. We are turning the green dial, which has notches that will catch the yellow one and allow us to turn it. In turn, the yellow can catch and turn the bronze. And we have to turn all three dials such that the gaps in the dials line up to reveal the two screws. From out of nowhere, it's a really clever lock-picking minigame. And, as always, it tutorializes the major mechanic that we're going to be dealing with in this device. It looks complicated, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it, and once you understand what the game wants you to do. Humble brag. Now this one, again, it has two screws, and we need to turn the gears to solve the puzzle and reveal those screws. However, this one is problematic, because we need to put the red block in the outer ring so we can turn them both at once, but the red ring will trigger the bomb if it touches the outer ring for too long. So we have to turn it one way and then the other. It's just like cracking a safe, I would assume. Although with that said, I would like to be able to pick locks. Like, it just seems like one of those skills that would be fun to keep under your hat, say for that one time you use it, when everybody just looks on in awe. Now, which way round do we need to do this? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's the same basic deal as before. We need to turn the inner ring to manipulate the middle ring and reveal the screws. However, the outer ring is moving on its own, so the puzzle will eventually become unsolvable if we screw around for too long. Although I say that, we actually have plenty of time. But if, hypothetically, we were to screw around, we'd end up at the point where we couldn't solve this puzzle. Although, it looks like we're in the clear. Excellent! And, much like the previous puzzle, if we activated the trap, it would cut the left wire, so obviously we need to cut the right one. There we go. Now, I'm going to sign off, because the final stage starts right after this screen, and I'm going to make that its own video. So join us next time for some more Suzuki Bakuhatsu, and until next time, goodbye!